Hey guys, I'm Julian. Welcome back to the workshop. In this one, what I'm going to be doing is taking you through my process of taking this old clapped out Suntour fork and bringing it back to life. I have done this video in the past. Cool, what I'll show you here is how to recondition these old Suntour forks. But since then I've probably done about 100 of these forks. So what I'll do in this video is I'll take you through that whole process and add in all of the tips and tricks I've learned along the way. So let's jump into it, eh? Right, so the biggest difference with this video, besides the fact that I don't have any hair anymore, is that I'm going to be doing a full overhaul of the shock. Last time all I did was open them up, clean them, put them back together, maybe change the seals. This time what I'm going to be doing is actually opening up those end caps, pulling out the dampers, pulling out the springs, cleaning them, putting them back together with some grease. The thing that I did was I printed one of these little sockets that go on top to open up the end caps. You absolutely can't open these things out without one of these sockets. You can buy them on eBay, or I found one on Thingiverse and just 3D printed it myself. I will link down below one of the sockets that you can get to open it up. They are all different for all different types of forks, but this is the one that does the Suntour ones. The first job is getting the wheel and brakes out of the way, so let's tuck into that. Before you get started with anything else here, make sure that you lock out your suspension. This is going to make it much easier putting the fork back. There are ways that you can do it, but I found that I always lock it out and it makes it much easier. Next, you're going to see a couple little bolts right at the bottom of the forks. You can go ahead and undo those. Don't be alarmed if a whole lot of water comes out the bottom. That's probably why, most of the reason why your forks aren't working. Yikes, these are not looking good. If you want, you can replace these seals, and there's also some little sleeves inside here. If you did want to replace those, you can. I'll link down below. I'm not going to do that today because they're actually quite difficult to get hold of at the moment. But like I did in my last video, you can just pop these out, put new ones in, and you're good to go. So once you've got the bottom of the forks off, the next bit is opening up these junctions and pulling them out. This little lock should, in theory, pop off, and then we'll get our little tool and we'll carefully unscrew these. These little plastic nuts are made of probably the worst plastic known to man, so you have to be super careful and you have to use the tool. That, like I said before, there's absolutely no way to get that thing off with a screwdriver or something rubbish like that, so just make sure you got the tool to do this job. Okay, so you can see that everything is real dirty. There's obviously been a bit of water getting there, that's why there's a bit of rust on everything. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give everything here a clean. I'm going to give those stanchions a clean. I'm going to clean the bottoms of the forks, everything. Make sure it's as clean as I can get it. And then we're going to re-grease some of these important bits and put it all back together. I get asked about the corrosion on the actual fork itself quite a lot. To be honest, most of the damage has already been done, so all I do is just a very light sand just to get it back to being smoothish. Any more than that and you're actually going to start to sand these stanchions themselves, and that'll actually make more damage than benefit. So all I do is kind of just take off the surface rust, try not to push or sand too deep, and it comes back to a little bit better than it should. So this is the damper, the oil damper for the fork itself. To be honest, she's not doing so hot. I would look at replacing these again. Can't get any, but you can just buy the whole thing and stick it in. Yeah, you can hear that's not doing so good. Should be nice and smooth. Yeah. Right, everything's nice and clean, ready to go back in the bike. I'm going to give everything a massive coat of grease just to protect it and lubricate it for later. Grease is your friend on this one. You can buy shock specific grease, so I'll link that down below. But yeah, heaps of grease, chuck it all back together. Let's go. This one I'm putting a little bit of grease on the threads. Okay, so these preload springs, they do twist. This one's all the way back. You want it as far back as you can, because that puts pressure on the spring when you're trying to fasten it down into it. Both of these, when I put them in, I want to try and get it as tight as I can with my fingers, and then bring in the big guns with the spanner. You're going to find this side, the side with the damper, a lot easier than the side with the spring. The spring's busy pushing up against it, so you just want to be super careful not to cross thread or strip the top of the thing as you're doing this. You want to make sure you got it heaps of downward pressure. You also want to make sure it's going in absolutely straight. If you're having trouble, you can pull down on the spring at the bottom and that should help you get it in. It's gonna want to jump off and de-thread everything. Now that you got those two in nice and carefully, you can just reverse the steps and put everything back together. Don't forget to put all the pieces back that you obviously took out, alright? Alright guys, that's it. They're near like they should be. It is a lot of work and a bit daunting to get it all together, but hopefully you enjoyed this video and got some help out of it. A big thank you to all my Patreons. It's been so sick to have you guys on board. Because of you, I get to make more videos like this. If you do find these kind of videos helpful and you do want to get involved, I'll put that link down below. It's the best way to help the channel out. That means I don't have to have sponsors, I don't have to worry about all that. Also, I will link a few other videos, so how I built the shipping container and all the workshop in it, I'll link it over there. And then over here I'll put a link to all the kind of 3D printing product bike stuff that I did. It's a pretty cool playlist, have a little look. But other than that, thanks heaps. It is getting super hot here, so I'm gonna get out the sun. See you guys later.